Congratulations. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well,
For 50 years, America thought they knew Marie Osmond, the wholesome girl from Utah, with the iconic, flawless smile. She was on television before she could read, topping the charts before age 14, and performing through trauma that would have broken anyone else. But behind that smile lay devastating secrets. In 1976, on a Hollywood studio lot, producers pulled the 15-year-old aside. She weighed just 103 pounds, yet they told her she was fat, an embarrassment, and that 250 people would lose their jobs because of her. That toxic moment was just the beginning of what she hid for decades. Now, the illusion is shattering. What else was she hiding behind that famous smile? Absolutely everything.
Which probably was confusing at first because of those other things.
well, I was doing that dancing show.
Right.
Dancing with the Stars.
The girl America thought she knew.
And this is my kid sister.
October 13th, 1959, Ogden, Utah. A baby girl is born into the Osmond family, the only daughter among 9 brothers. Her parents named her Olive Marie Osmond. Nobody calls her Olive. From the very beginning, she is simply Marie. And from the very beginning, the world has an idea of who Marie Osmond is supposed to be. Wholesome, cheerful, faithful, the perfect girl from the perfect family with the perfect smile. That idea was not entirely wrong, but it was nowhere near the full story. The Osmonds were already famous before Marie could walk properly. Her brothers Alan, Wayne, Merrill, and Jay had formed a tight harmony group in the early 1960s. They sang barbershop-style music, clean, polished, wholesome. They caught the attention of Andy Williams and became regulars on his television show. Marie made her first television appearance on that same show at the age of 4 years old, on national television, performing. Most children that age are learning to tie their shoes. Marie Osmond was already learning something else entirely. She was learning how to be on, how to perform, and how to give the audience exactly what they came for. It would become the defining skill of her life and the heaviest burden she ever carried. For several years after that first appearance, Marie stayed out of the spotlight. Her brothers continued performing. The Osmond brothers built their following, added Donnie and Jimmy, evolved from barbershop harmonies into pop and rock and roll. Marie watched from the side. She was shy, reserved, the youngest and only girl in a house full of loud performing brothers. But by the early 1970s, her mother had made a decision. It was time for Marie to record. In 1973, 13-year-old Marie Osmond released Paper Roses, a country song, soft and sweet. It went straight to #1 on the country charts. The song broke into the top 5 on the pop charts simultaneously. She was not yet 14 years old. America fell in love immediately. Here was this young, radiant girl with the voice and the smile and the family name. She seemed to represent something people wanted badly in the early 70s, something clean and uncomplicated in a world that felt increasingly chaotic. They projected everything onto her, and she let them, because that was her job. In 1976, ABC came calling, not for the brothers, for Donnie and Marie. The network launched a primetime variety show built entirely around the 2 youngest Osmond siblings. Donnie was 18, Marie was 16. Donnie and Marie premiered to massive audiences. Each episode opened with their now famous duet, Donnie declaring himself a little bit rock and roll, Marie countering that she was a little bit country. The show ran until 1979, then returned in 1998. And eventually became an 11-year Las Vegas residency at the Flamingo Hotel that ran until 2019. Decades of performing together, decades of that image. But here is the thing about images. They require constant maintenance. And the cost of maintaining this one was something Marie Osmond kept almost entirely to herself for years. Because while America was watching a wholesome teenage girl sing and smile on primetime television, something else was happening entirely. Something that began when Marie was even younger than 16. In her 2001 memoir, Behind the Smile, Marie Osmond revealed what she had never said publicly before. During her childhood and teenage years, she had been abused. She wrote that it ranged from invasions of privacy to having personal property stolen too. In her words, the most damaging was being abused sexually. She described her abusers as people with very temporary access to her life, people she did not know well, People who moved through the entertainment industry with access to young performers. She never named them. She told Larry King she stayed silent to protect her family. She said they could not have done anything about it. It would not have changed anything. In 2018, she told Dr. Oz that the people who had abused her were dead. She had carried that secret for decades. Through every television appearance, every performance, every smile beamed into millions of American living rooms. And that raises the question that runs underneath her entire story. How does a child absorb something that damaging and then walk onto a stage in front of the whole country and perform as if none of it happened? The answer, it turns out, is the same one Marie Osmond would return to again and again throughout her life. You smile, you keep working, you protect everyone else first. And you bury the rest so deep that even the people closest to you never suspect it is there. That was the girl America thought she knew. Beautiful, talented, untouchable. And already, by the time she was a teenager, carrying more than anyone around her understood. The parking lot. She was 15 years old, 5 feet, 5 inches tall, 103 pounds. A working television star on one of the most watched variety shows in America. And on an ordinary afternoon, on a Hollywood studio lot, a group of producers pulled her aside. Not into an office, not into a dressing room. Into the parking lot, outside, away from everyone else. What they said to her that day would follow Marie Osmond for the next 50 years. They told her she was fat and an embarrassment to her family. They told her that 250 people were going to lose their jobs because she could not keep food out of her fat face. 103 pounds, and they called her fat. Marie Osmond first told this story publicly in a 2015 interview with Closer Weekly. She revisited it in a 2023 conversation with Page 6. And each time she told it, something new came out. In the earlier version, she mentioned dropping around 6 pounds after the incident. In the 2023 interview, she corrected herself. The number was closer to 11 pounds, meaning she had not stopped at 97 pounds as she initially said. She got down to approximately 92 pounds. A girl who was already at 103 pounds starved herself down to 92, on a body that was still growing and developing, still trying to figure out who it was. And the industry that was supposed to be nurturing a teenage talent stood back and said nothing. She described what followed as starvation. Her word, not a diet, not calorie counting. Starvation. She told Fox News Digital that on the day of tapings, she would go in without eating, completely. She called it doing what I had to do to be on that show. The pressure was relentless. The era did not help. The 1970s were the era of Twiggy. Lollipop heads, as Marie put it. The beauty standard at the time demanded a near impossible thinness, and the industry enforced it without apology, especially on young women who had no power to push back. Marie Osmond had fame. She had a #1 single and a primetime television show. But she was a teenager in an industry controlled entirely by adults who had already decided what she was supposed to look like. And the adults had made themselves very clear in that parking lot. The moment she realized how bad it had gotten did not come from a doctor. It did not come from a concerned parent or a worried producer. It came from a mirror. She was in her dressing room, bending over to pull on her pantyhose. She looked up. There was a girl across the room changing. A girl whose back was a skeleton covered in skin, protruding spine, no flesh, no softness, just bone and surface. Marie Osmond thought to herself that it was the sickest thing she had ever seen. Then she stood up and realized she was looking at herself. She told Drew Barrymore on the Drew Barrymore show that the moment stopped her completely, that she wept later when she thought about what she had done to her body. What a horrible thing I did to myself. Her words. But the damage did not end with the dressing room. That is the part that took decades to fully understand. Body dysmorphia set in, deep and persistent. Even after she stopped the extreme restriction, even after she began eating again, the disorder remained. The way she saw herself in the mirror never quite matched the reality of what was there. She cycled through the pattern that millions of women recognize. Restrict, recover, regain, restrict again. Fad diets, weight fluctuations, decades of yo-yoing. All of it rooted in that afternoon, on a Hollywood parking lot, when a grown man screamed at a 15-year-old girl about her fat face. She told Page 6 plainly in 2023 that the experience created in her the idea that she had to be skinny to be on television, to be in the entertainment business, to be accepted. That idea embedded itself so deeply, it took 50 years to fully dislodge. In her 60s, Marie Osmond lost 50 pounds, not through starvation, not through restriction, through a sustainable approach she developed with discipline and care. She became a spokesperson for Nutrisystem. She launched a weight loss program specifically for women over 55. But even in success, she was careful about the message. She told her audience repeatedly and without ambiguity, "We do not need to be skinny, we need to be healthy." It sounds simple, but for a woman who spent half a century at war with her own reflection, those 11 words were everything. They were the words nobody said to her in that parking lot. The words that might have changed everything. If anyone had bothered to say them to a 15-year-old girl who already weighed 103 pounds and still was not thin enough for the world watching her every week. The darkness behind the smile.
Smile, she suffered from crippling postpartum depression, and 10 years ago.
1999. Marie Osmond picks up her newborn son, Matthew, holds him for a moment, then hands him to his nanny. She says 4 words, "I cannot stay here." Then she walks out of the house, gets in her car, and drives north along the Pacific Coast Highway. Alone, no destination, just driving. She did not know it at the time, but her own mother had once made the exact same drive, along the exact same highway, years earlier, for the exact same reason. Something had broken inside Marie Osmond, and this time, performing through it was not going to be enough. The condition was postpartum depression, but calling it that almost undersells what it was. Marie Osmond described it to Larry King in precise terms. She said it makes you feel like you do not belong in your own life. You weep, you cry, you have no joy, you function, you show up, you do the work, but inside there is nothing. Just a vast, terrifying emptiness where feeling used to be. She had experienced symptoms with all 8 of her children, both biological and adopted. Each time she pushed through. Each time the smile held. This time it did not. When she handed Matthew to the nanny and walked out, she told the nanny something was wrong with her. Really wrong. She was not exaggerating. What she admitted to Oprah Winfrey in 2010 was one of the most startling confessions of her public life. She said that during the worst of her postpartum depression, she had been driving one day and felt the pull of dark thoughts. Thoughts that the people around her would be better off without her. She said she talked herself out of it, that her own voice cut through the fog and told her it was crazy, that she came back from the edge, but the edge had been there. This was not a woman quietly struggling in private while the world moved on around her. This was a woman performing on national television, smiling for cameras, hosting shows, appearing at events, while privately standing at the edge of something terrible, and nobody knew. She eventually got help, real help. She left her family temporarily, checked in somewhere quiet, began the slow work of climbing out. She told the Deseret News that she said to herself she had to leave until she figured out what was wrong. She did not frame it as weakness. She framed it as honesty. Something is wrong with me, and I have to face it. That sentence alone took more courage than most people understand. Because in the world Marie Osmond had grown up in, you do not say that. And you not leave. You do not admit the smile was a lie. You keep on singing, performing, and giving the audience what they came for. But she stopped. She asked for help, and then she did something that surprised everyone. She wrote about it. Her 2001 memoir was titled Behind the Smile: My Journey Out of Postpartum Depression. It was one of the first times a major celebrity had spoken with that level of candor about the condition. At the time, postpartum depression was still heavily stigmatized. Women were expected to be grateful, joyful, glowing. Marie Osmond said publicly that she had wanted to drive off a road. The response was overwhelming. Her physician told her that after Good Housekeeping previewed the book, the office was flooded with calls, mostly from men calling on behalf of their wives and daughters, asking for help, saying they finally had a name for what they were watching someone they loved go through. Marie Osmond had not just written a memoir. She had opened a door that many women did not even know was closed. But there was something else in the book, something harder. She wrote that the sexual abuse she had survived as a child had been a contributing factor to the depression, that the two were connected, that what happened to her in those early years had embedded itself deep inside her and never fully left. She did not elaborate. She chose her words with great care, but she said enough. She said the abuse was always there in some part of her, that she had pushed it down, but she always knew it was there. Pushing something down for decades takes enormous energy. Energy that cannot be used anywhere else. Energy that quietly drains everything around it. the postpartum depression, the body dysmorphia, the relentless need to perform and smile and keep going no matter what. None of it existed in isolation. It was all part of the same story. A story that began long before the parking lot and the producers and the cameras. A story that began when a child who should have been protected was not. The son she could not save. February 26, 2010. Marie Osmond is on stage at the Flamingo, Las Vegas. The show is running, lights are up, and the audience is watching. Her phone rings backstage. She cannot get to it in time. She calls back, no answer. She finishes the show, tries again. Still nothing. Then later that night, a different call comes through. Not from Michael, from someone telling her she needs to go to the coroner's office. She said later that the moment she heard those words, she already knew. A mother knows. Michael Blosill, her 18-year-old adopted son, was gone, and the questions that followed that night would haunt her for the rest of her life. Michael had been adopted as a baby in 1991. He was one of 5 children Marie and her second husband, Brian Blosill, adopted together. He grew up inside one of the most recognizable families in American entertainment. He was bright, thoughtful. His mother told People magazine in 2009 that he was looking at scholarships to some wonderful colleges. She sounded proud, hopeful. A year later, he was dead. On the evening of February 26th, Michael left his apartment on the 15th floor of a building in downtown Los Angeles. He left a note for his closest friend. He told her to tell his family that he loved each and every one of them, that he was scared to tell them himself. Then he jumped. The Los Angeles County coroner ruled his death a suicide. The toxicology report came back completely negative. He was sober. His friends confirmed it. The depression had taken him. Not substances, not anything external, just the darkness inside. Marie Osmond spoke to Michael the day before he died. He called her. He was crying. He told her he had no friends, that he felt completely alone. She told him she would be back in town on Monday, that it was going to be okay, and she was coming. It was Friday. She told Oprah Winfrey 9 months after his death what she had learned from losing him. Depression does not wait until Monday. She said it quietly, without dramatics. Just the plain, devastating truth of it. She understood that darkness. She had been inside it herself during her worst years of postpartum depression. She knew exactly the place Michael was describing when he said he felt alone. She told Oprah she knew that place, that specific dark, and she still could not get there in time. 2 weeks after the funeral, Marie Osmond went back to work. She returned to the stage at the Flamingo. The public reaction was immediate and brutal. People accused her of not caring, of prioritizing performance over grief, of being cold. She pushed back with everything she had. She said the way Osmonds survive is they keep singing. She knew her son would want that. She said she was showing her surviving children something essential, that life continues, that you keep living even when living feels impossible. She said the people who criticized her for going back to work hurt her children more than anything else during that period. Not the grief, the public shaming. She carried that too. Then came the confession she held back for 9 years. In 2019 on The Talk, Marie Osmond said something she had never said publicly before. Michael had been bullied, not casually, not occasionally, heavily, relentlessly. Right up until the day he died. 3 specific individuals targeted him repeatedly because of his sobriety. They wanted to tear down the thing he had worked hardest to build. She said she still had the text messages. She described them as horrendous. And then she said something that clearly still cost her to say. She had never taken action against those 3 people. She knew who they were. She had known all along. She said in her heart she believed they knew what they had done, that they had to live with that knowledge. She said that was where she stayed on it. Whether that was peace or pain dressed up as peace, only she knows. What Marie Osmond understood about her son that the world did not is this. Michael was not lost because of one thing. He was lost because of the accumulation. The depression, isolation, and the bullying. The feeling of having no friends in a world where his mother was known by millions. She understood that accumulation personally. She had lived inside it. The difference was that she had survived her darkest moments. She had talked herself back from the edge of that highway. She had asked for help. Michael did not get that Monday. And the guilt of one missed phone call on a Friday night in February is not something any explanation or any stage performance or any amount of work ever fully erases. She has never pretended otherwise. That honesty alone sets her apart. The love she almost did not let herself have. May 4th, 2011. Las Vegas, Nevada temple. A woman walks down the aisle in a wedding dress she first wore 29 years earlier. The same gown, the same man waiting at the altar. The guests are few. The ceremony is quiet. Almost nobody outside that room knows it is happening. Marie Osmond is 51 years old. She has buried a son, survived 2 divorces, raised 8 children, battled depression and abuse, and decades of public scrutiny. And she is marrying her first husband for the 2nd time. Her brother Donnie would later call it a Cinderella story. But Cinderella stories do not usually take 26 years. They do not usually involve that much loss along the way. This one did. Marie Osmond first met Stephen Craig when she was a teenager. She married him on June 26, 1982. She was 22 years old. The ceremony drew 4,000 guests. It was exactly the kind of wedding you would expect for America's sweetheart. Less than a year later, their son Stephen James Craig was born, and then things fell apart. She cited mental cruelty in her divorce filing. The marriage ended on October 4th, 1985. 3 years, 1 child, over. The Mormon Church placed Stephen on disciplinary probation following the divorce. He was ordered to pay $1 per year in alimony. Marie moved on. In 1986, she married Brian Blosill, a recording engineer she had met the previous year. They built a large family together. 2 biological children, 5 adopted, 7 children across 20 years of marriage. From the outside, it looks stable, substantial, the kind of marriage that lasts. But the postpartum depression had been eroding things quietly for years. The condition strained the relationship in ways that were difficult to explain publicly and even harder to live with privately. They separated in 1998, reconciled, tried again. The final divorce came in 2007. That same year, Marie's father George passed away at the age of 90. That same year, her son Michael entered rehab for the first time. 2007 was, by any measure, the year everything came apart at once. She was alone, grieving, starting over at 47. Then the unexpected happened. Stephen Craig came back into her life, not dramatically, or with grand gestures or declarations. He helped her move into her new Las Vegas home after the divorce from Blosill. That was it. He showed up and helped her move boxes. And somewhere in the ordinary quiet of that, something shifted. They began spending time together again, carefully, without announcement, without pressure. Marie kept it completely secret for 2 full years. She told Good Morning America in 2011 that she did not want anyone to get hurt if it did not work out. She said even her children did not know. The woman whose entire life had been lived in public view managed to fall in love again in total privacy. She protected it, kept it close, let it grow without the weight of outside opinion pressing down on it. The decision to make it official came from an unexpected direction. Their son, Stephen, was planning his own wedding. Marie and Stephen Craig looked at each other and arrived at the same conclusion simultaneously. They could not attend their son's wedding as unmarried former spouses. It did not feel right, so they decided to get married first. She told People magazine simply, "We got married a few months before he did." On May 4th, 2011, they exchanged vows at the Las Vegas, Nevada temple in a private ceremony. A small reception followed at home. No grand production, no 4,000 guests. Just 2 people who had already learned the hard way what mattered and what did not. She wore her original 1982 wedding dress. It still fit. What the remarriage revealed about Marie Osmond is something her public image had always suggested, but never quite confirmed. Underneath the performance and the smile and the decades of carefully managed appearances was a woman who believed stubbornly in the possibility of restoration. Not perfection. She had long since given up on perfection, but restoration. The idea that what was broken could be rebuilt, that what was lost could sometimes be found again, that a person could carry an almost unbearable amount of pain and still choose, eventually, to walk towards something good. She had done it with her health. She had done it after losing Michael. She had done it after the depression and the abuse and the parking lot and all of it. And now she had done it with love. Her brother Donnie said she deserved it, that after everything she had been through, it was about time Marie got a little happiness. He was not wrong. What she finally said, out loud? For most of her life, Marie Osmond gave the world the version it asked for. The smile and the performance. The wholesome girl from Utah who sang beautifully and never complained and always showed up. That version was real, but it was incomplete. And somewhere in her 60s, Marie Osmond stopped managing the gap between who she was and who the world thought she was. Not all at once, not in one dramatic interview, piece by piece, admission by admission, until the full picture finally came into view. In 2019 on The Talk, she sat in front of a live studio audience and said something she had carried privately for 8 years. Her son Michael had been bullied before he died. She said it plainly, no tears, no build-up, just the truth arriving after years of silence. She said she had the text messages, she knew the names, she had chosen not to act. The audience was silent, because this was not the polished Marie Osmond of primetime television. This was a mother telling the truth about the worst thing that ever happened to her, and the part she felt she had failed at. That moment changed how many people saw her, not because it was dramatic, because it was honest in a way that fame almost never permits. That same year she went further. She talked about the sexual abuse she survived as a child and what it had done to her sense of self in those early years. She told the audience on The Talk that when she was 8 or 9 years old, she had thought she was gay. Not because she was, but because the abuse had distorted her understanding of herself so completely that she could not separate her own feelings from the damage that had been done to her. She said it was the healthy relationships with her father and brothers that eventually helped her find her way back to herself. She did not say this to generate headlines. She said it because she had spent decades watching people suffer alone, inside questions that felt unspeakable. She wanted them to know those questions could be survived. Then came her daughter Jessica. Jessica Osmond came out as gay and married her wife Sarah. Marie attended the wedding, fully, proudly. A section of her religious community did not approve. The public shaming came quickly. Marie Osmond did not retreat. She told Page 6 that you should never shame anyone for loving their child, that attending her daughter's wedding was not a complicated decision. It was a simple one. You show up for your children, full stop. For a woman raised in a faith community with traditional views on marriage, that public statement carried weight. She did not qualify it. She did not soften it. She said what she meant, and she meant what she said. What connects every chapter of Marie Osmond's story is a pattern she identified in herself during the postpartum depression years and never forgot. She told the Deseret News that women take comfort in structure instead of going deep inside themselves, that she had used work the same way, as protection, as distance, as a way of staying functional while avoiding the thing that actually needed attention. The parking lot, abuse, depression, and the loss of Michael. 2 divorces, decades of body dysmorphia. She survived all of it by working, performing, and smiling. And then in her 60s, she finally did what she had spent a lifetime avoiding. She went deep inside herself, and she told the truth about what she found there, not to unburden herself, but to reach the people who needed to hear it. The teenage girl being told she is too much. The mother driving alone along a highway at night. The person carrying something so heavy they cannot see how to keep going. Marie Osmond became the voice she never had when she needed one. At 65, Marie Osmond is still performing, still creating, still showing up, but something is different now. The smile and the voice is the same. The work ethic is the same. What is different is the honesty underneath all of it. She did not wait until everything was resolved to start telling the truth. She told it while still living inside it, while still healing and figuring it out. That is not a performance. That is courage. If her story moved you today, subscribe so you never miss what comes next. There is so much more to tell.